Good afternoon and welcome to the PALCUS Virtual National Conference. This is an amazing conference that has been taking place all week long. So we are the last session because I was told they saved the best for last, not wanting to take anything from all the other sessions, obviously. But we do have amazing guests here today to talk to you. Everyone tuning in, keep it coming. I mentioned in the beginning, for those of you that did not hear, if you are connected in our Zoom call, I'm all about interaction. I couldn't be any more Portuguese. So I'm going to ask you questions. Please answer. So right now, the first question is, where are you located in the world right now? We have California, Massachusetts, Honolulu. What else did I hear? Of course, we have Madeira, we have Açores, and we have Lisbon, and then we have Houston, Texas. Look at that. So keep it coming, keep it interactive. And ask questions, and then we're going to come back and answer them later, okay? So let's go provide you with some little information before we introduce our guests. Again, we are here today with the PALCUS Virtual National Conference. PALCUS is the Portuguese-American organization that has been on for a while, actually about 30 years, and doing so much for the American community. And we are more than happy to share with you about PALCUS. Just let us know if you want some more information if you're not aware already. And today we are here to talk about investing in Portugal. Before we move on, I have a special announcement. Angela Simoes and her team at PALCUS would like to ask that all attendees to please stay with us if you can, if time allows, for our closing ceremony right after this session. I told you guys, the best for last. And we are going to have a special appearance from the Portuguese ambassador, Domingos Fezas Vital. So please stay with us if you can for that closing ceremony. And I wanted to send a special thanks to the amazing Angela Simoes that has been behind all of these sessions and conference and organizing, and her team as well at PALCUS. Everyone at PALCUS has been amazing. But we also have some other people to thank, such as the Portugal U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the AECEP, Secretary of State for Communities Abroad, with Berta Nunes office, and of course the Embassy of Portugal. So a huge thanks to everyone for making this possible. And today we are here to talk about investing in Portugal. Let's start with me, our presenter for today. I'm an international real estate agent located in Houston, Texas. What makes me international is that I do have properties for sale, not only in Houston, but as well Portugal, Costa Rica, Brazil, and Mexico. And I do specialize in residential real estate as a primary residence, second homes, or investments. I do speak some English, a little bit of Portuguese, some Spanish, and Dutch. And the first of my three guests of today is Angela Simoes. I am so proud to introduce to you this amazing realtor in Lisbon. She is a colleague with Coldwell Banker, and this time Coldwell Banker City right in Lisbon. Achilles has a really impressive resume. She is a real estate agent in Lisbon. She likes to help buyers and investors alike, not only with residential, but as well second homes and commercial properties. She does have a master's degree, experience in banking, and oh my gosh, she speaks, are you ready? English, French, Portuguese, Spanish, German, Spanish, and Italian. So at this point, I would like to ask, can everyone see my screen? Just give me a thumbs up. Yeah, right, let's continue. So Achilles is our first guest. I'll bring her on this to talk to us in a moment. I would like to continue and introduce our second guest of the day, another amazing powerhouse, this time in the island of Madeira, Hilda Barros, with HB Family Properties. She is the broker of her own company and located in Madeira. Hilda Barros is a real estate broker, meaning that she created and she is the CEO of HB Family Properties. She specializes in residential real estate and investing. She likes to help families find their homes, their dream homes, I may add, by falling in love with all the things that we all very well know Madeira has to offer. And of course, helping investors that want to make the most out of their capital. Now, last but not least, we have our third guest, Nelson Ponte Garça, with NPG Multimedia LLC. He is way more than just an investor in a search, but that's what is our purpose of our conversation today. So Nelson Ponte Garza is actually originally from California, and a few years ago he purchased a few properties in São Jorge that I think you're going to love to see what he has done with the place. I know I do. And he turned them into tourist destinations. He also has a company in Açores, the Grandview Caldeira, and he's, of course, the CEO of NPG Multimedia LLG. So before we go ahead and bring everyone in, as I mentioned in the beginning, and guys, keep your answers coming. Where is everyone located right now? The Q&A and the slides are going to be shared, answered at the end, and they are going to be shared on the PALCUS Facebook page. So take note of this, take a picture, take note if you have not added the Facebook page for PALCUS. This is a really good moment to do so because all of this information is going to be shared there. And that is all on my side. So I will be here today to connect you. I'll stop sharing my screen to connect you with the different speakers. We are here today to help you have a really good idea. Either you are Portuguese of descendancy, either you are married to a Portuguese, either you just saw some information about Portugal and you're like, that's it, I want to retire there. That's why we are here today. We want to share with you with two amazing real estate agents and then a live example of someone that actually purchased properties in Portugal. So as you all know, we have mainland Portugal and we have Achilles representing Lisbon, and then we have two beautiful islands, Hilda in Madeira and Nelson in Açores. For those of you that just join us, again, feel free to leave here your information. Where are you located right now? I would like for these sessions to be interactive. San Diego, Sacramento, Virginia. We're allowing some more people to join us before we start sharing this valuable information. Bloomfield, South Africa. We have South Africa in the house, you guys. Thank you for joining us. What time is it there in South Africa, Eduardo? Familia, Eduardo de Silva. So, Alison, you are in Honolulu, Riverside. Keep it coming, you guys. Okay, fantastic. I think this is a really good moment to actually allow our first guest, Achilles in Lisbon, to share her screen and start sharing with us why buying in Portugal.
So, thank you so much, Claudia, also the PALCUS for this event. I think it's a great moment for us to show you all the opportunity that we have here in Portugal in the real estate market, either for investment or to live here in Portugal. So for me, I'm going to show you a program, a Portuguese program, which is named Golden Visa, which was installed by the government in 2012, who can help non-European citizens to invest or to live here in Portugal. And in the second part, I'm going to show you also some great ideas of properties that can be interesting for you. So what is the Golden Visa? It's a program for 5-year residency with an investment scheme. And this program gives you the opportunity to become a permanent resident or a citizen, a Portuguese citizen. And what are the benefits of this program? There are so many. The first one is the right to live and work in Portugal, the right to a visa-free for the Schengen area. After 5 years of the Golden Visa, you have access to 185 countries. And what is also great with this program is that you have a very low minimum stay, because there's other programs also here in Portugal which are more constrained, but this one you have a very low minimum stay requirement. Is 35 days in 5 years. But these 35 days are divided by 7 days per year. So the first year of your Golden Visa, you may stay in Portugal for 7 days. And from the second to the third year, you should prove that you stay in Portugal for 14 days, and the 2 years also remaining. And who can benefit from the Golden Visa? So if you apply for the Golden Visa, imagine that you are married. Your spouse can be added on your Golden Visa, on the same Golden Visa application, your children also. And if your children is an adult, and if he is financially dependent, he can be added also on this golden visa. And so this is really great for this program, I think, also is that for the same investment, you can add your parents. So you can definitely, with the golden visa, come in Portugal, live here, work here with all your family. And you see, you have a very low stay minimum. So you don't need to stay here for years and years, only 7 days per year. And what are the main requirements? The first one is to be non-European Union. And then you have several options. The first option to apply for the golden visa is you can make a transfer or about 1 million euros from the country where you are to Portugal. So you just have to open a bank account and make a transfer. The second option is to create a company here in Portugal and create at least 10 job positions here in Portugal. It's mandatory that the position jobs has to be in Portugal. The third option, which is really common for golden visa people, is to acquire or invest in a property with the amount about 500,000 euros. And the last option, but not least, is to acquire or invest in a property around 350,000 euros. This option has some particularity that is really, really important to be assisted by a lawyer to do that, or a real estate professional, because here you have some particularity, like if you buy for 350, the building has to have at least 30 years old. You have some areas where you can buy and some not. So it's really important for you to be sure that you have to be assisted by a lawyer or a professional to do that. So here I have a great opportunity to show you, but meanwhile, if you have some question related to golden visa, please feel free to make sure that I can see the question or send me messages. Maybe Claudia really can see that. Yeah. Okay.
So we wanted to invite Achilles, that is a real estate agent in Lisbon, for those of you that because I see that some people out here in Washington, D.C., Boston, San Jose, California are starting to join different times everywhere. We are all over the world. We are Portuguese. I didn't expect anything. Right? So we are also families that before I want to just to explain something about the golden visa and why we're talking about it. Some of us have immigrated here or many other countries. We do have some Portuguese heritage, but we may not have, really the ability right now to claim a Portuguese passport or something like this. So we wanted to bring the golden visa as one of the ways that you can, speed process all of this. And for sure, some information here. If you want more information about the golden visa, let us know. Achilles, even Hilda, we can provide you with that information. So Achilles, the floor to you again.
Okay, thank you so much. And as you mentioned also, I am a real estate agent at Coldwell City. We have a financial and legal department. So guys, if you have any question like legal question or financial question about down payment or mortgage, we can assist you on all the process. So it's really, really important that you know that. And so this is a great opportunity also that I found that may be a great idea for you who want to spend some days here in Portugal, take some holidays, why not? So it's a beautiful house with 32 acres, which is located in a mountain. And the name of that mountain is Mountain Alentejano. So if you Google it, you will find the property. It's gorgeous. And why I choose this specific property? Basically, because first of all, I don't know if there are some people who know Alentejo here. So you will see the color of the property, blue and white. And also the property has 2 living rooms, beautiful living rooms, 4 bedrooms, 2 suites. There are so many areas here. You have also a barbecue space. Let me show you here in more detail the barbecue area of this property. And also for this property, you have 32 acres, as I say, and the land is, you have core trees here. So every 9 years, you can sort this core. It's a great investment also. And what is perfect for this property is that you can use it for investment, agricultural investment, or the owner of this property managed to get the permit, the construction permit, which is awesome, to get 15 units on this property. So instead of using as an agricultural land, you can construct 15 more property here. So as I mentioned, the property and actually at the moment is used for short-term rental. So it's on Airbnb. And last year in 2019, it was 85% full. So it has a great rentability also. And this year, the owner of this property turned to a long-term investment. So look at the numbers. The asking price for that property is 850,000, and the tax will be for the transfer will be 51,000 euros. This time 6,800, and you have to think about the notary cost, which is around 1% of the asking price. Let's say that you want to buy this property by using some mortgage or bank loan here in Portugal. You will think about the bank fees, and all that depends on the amount that you are going to ask to the bank. Then I want to show you a small investment. So this one is a small flat here in Portugal, located at Graça, which is also a beautiful area. So here I take this property. It's located at Graça, and you have the property has 3 bedrooms, sorry. And for this one, it's using actually for short-term investment. And it has also 85% of occupancy tax in 2019. And this year, in 2020, is used for the long-term investment. And it has a great return. So this can be also a great opportunity for you. And the last opportunity that I can show you is at Óbidos. Óbidos also is a great place to live. You have a lot of parties there. I went there last year for the chocolate party. I love chocolate, so for me it's fabulous. So I went there, and this property has 3 bedrooms. It's all new, and it's only for 225,000 euros. It's great for investment, long-term and short-term investment, and it's just perfect. The location is perfect. You have the view on the castle, Óbidos Castle, and I mean, every morning get up there, it's fantastic. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I let here my contact and also my site. So if you want this presentation, I already download there and all the information about Golden Visa and also all the opportunities that you can find in Portugal, in Lisbon. Thank you.
Fantastic, Achilles. I mean, I think you can hear us all clap. I'll clap for everyone. That was really good. I really wanted, so Angela Simoes is behind all of this, right, with PALCUS. And when she reached out and said, hey, Claudia, do you want to, have a session about investing in real estate? I was like, oh, how fantastic. I have a few people in mind. And I wanted to make sure that we would actually include, everybody, because as everyone knows here in the US, we have people that immigrated here to the US and around the world from the islands, not just from the mainland Portugal, right? We have Madeira, so we wanted to make sure we include. So before we bring Ildes here, I wanted to just let you guys know that we wanted to start talking about the Golden Visa for those of you that are married to Portuguese. And for me, for example, I'm married to someone else of a different nationality, but he wants to retire in Portugal more, I guess, sometimes than I do. So he's more interested in this information than some other Portuguese people I know. So it's really good to talk about the Golden Visa and what's out there, but as well, Achilles, thank you so much to bring opportunities that, fall under the category that you can purchase as an investment and qualify for the visa, as well as if you already have, all your Portuguese passport and everything else, that you can then, find other opportunities that you can use it as an Airbnb, get your return on investment, as Achilles mentioned, that you can use it to go for vacation with your family. So there is different things we're going to be talking about here. Another thing that I wanted to share with you guys is that this presentation is going to be on our Facebook page at PALCUS. So feel free to connect there. And of course, you can always reach out to Achilles directly because she's amazing and you should definitely connect with her on social media. So Hilda, are you ready? I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself and join the conversation.
Hello, everybody. I hope everything is okay. Everyone is okay. I'm very happy to enjoy to this PALCUS conference, where is a lot of sharing about mainland Portugal and its islands. Okay, I have a video and I want to share it with you, just to remind you how is Madeira. Okay, let me put it on the top. As you, Claudia, it wasn't the end.
It happens. We were actually doing a little rehearsal before you guys, so it happens.
Okay, let's go see it. So for the ones that already knows Madeira, it's good to remember, isn't it?
Goodness, Hilda, I want to go there right now. Where do I sign? Hilda, before you go on, everyone, let's continue our fun. First, I ask, where were you located right now around the globe? Now I ask you, if you have a connection with Portugal, let us know. Do you or your family come from mainland Portugal? Do you come from Açores or do you come from Madeira? Leave it on the Q&A and I'll read in the moment. Hilda, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I've been working in this area along 4 years. I have been in love for this, for what I do all day. I recently created my own company, my own project, HB Family Properties. Actually, I'm at the office right now, and it was here when HB Properties was born. So, talking about properties, I've chosen 3 properties, okay? I'm a specialist in residential homes. And those are the properties that I've chosen to talk a little bit. Before go to the properties, I have to tell you guys that the golden visa and taxes that Sheila has presented at the beginning is the same here in Madeira, okay? So this property, the place development, is a great development, upper middle class, within 2 blocks, H block and B block, and it makes up 108 apartments in total. The condo offers garden areas, offers 2 swimming pools and play areas for the kids. It's located at Funchal, in Virtudes area, so you are almost 4 kilometers from downtown Funchal. If by placing this property for tourists, these are the estimated earnings, weekly earnings that we can afford. The second property is not at Funchal, it's the next city, Câmara de Lobos, it's Saraiva village. It's a condo with 8 houses, a 3 bedrooms house, each one. 6 of them are semi-detached houses and 2 of them are single ones, independent ones. These houses are located, as I told you at the beginning, at Câmara de Lobos. Works will start in January 21 and expected to end in August 22. Camarlobos is a localization about 12-minute drive from Funchal. Okay, by placing this property on tourism rental, those are the amounts that can be afforded. The last but not least property is a house, 3-bedroom house in Calheta. They are actually a condominium of five houses only. It has a swimming pool. Calheta, for the ones that don't know where is it, is on the west coast. And this is a location that has grown exponentially over the years. In fact, most of the real estate investments have been made in this location, which is very popular with tourists. In other words, demand in Calheta, in terms of the scale, ranks in the second place in the island when we talk about the foreign investment, okay? So placing this property for tourism, those are the estimated earnings that we can afford. So this presentation I have already presented 3 properties. It was a great pleasure to be able to present those buildings to you. I have had the opportunity to interact with a significant number of participants who have something in common, which is our Portuguese roots. I thank Angela Simoes and Claudia da Silva, in particular, who has always been present, even though she was so far away, you know. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask about those investments and other ones, or if you want only to talk or making a new friendship, feel free to do it. I'm here for you. Thank you.
Hilda, oh Hilda, you always bring such a heart, such a loving manner of expressing yourself. It's so typical Portuguese, and it makes
that's right.
Tomorrow. You all do. And the thing is, I need to, before we go on, I need to say we have quite an audience today. We have, you would like to know that, Nelson. You have a lot of friends in the house. We have people from Pico, tiny little San João. We have Açores São Miguel. We have people from, mainland Portugal. Pico Açores again, from Joana Pires. Caldas da Rainha, who has been there. It's so nice. I love it. Continente Chaves, Santa Maria Açores, Terceira Açores, Madeira, Santa Cruz, Água de Pena. I want to acknowledge all of this because it's so nice that you all made the time out of your busy schedules to be here today, learn about investing in Portugal and share this moment with us. So I really want to acknowledge all of you. Eduardo da Silva, that is now in South Africa, I will never forget because familiar, right? He's from Porto. Chaves, Connecticut, Madeira. So we have a lot of people. Alenquer, District of Lisbon. All right. Very good, you guys. Thank you. Keep it coming. Again, let me rephrase a few things. In the beginning of this session, we asked you a favor. If you could stay for the end, we are going to wrap it up. We are going to have a special announcement from PALCUS. We are going to have a very special guest talking to us here. Angela Simoes is going to come on as well, the ambassador, Domingos Fezas Vital. We also want to thank once again, the amazing PALCUS team and Angela's team at PALCUS, the Portuguese U.S. Chamber of Commerce, AECEP, the Secretary of State for the Communities Abroad with the Berta Nunes office, and the Embassy of Portugal. A lot of people to thank, including those attending today. So for those of you that just joined us, because some of us are actually joining live and have done a few of these, so I know that it happens that sometimes we just join a little bit later, and we are so grateful you did. We actually here today to talk about opportunities of investing in Portugal, on the mainland, Madeira, and then we're going to have our next guest that is going to talk about his example on doing so in a Açores. So we thank you for joining us. My name is Claudia de Silva. I'm located in Houston, Texas. I'm an international realtor with properties to sell, in many countries of the world, including Portugal, Costa Rica, Brazil, and Mexico. We had Angela Simoes with Coldwell Banker City, realtor in Lisbon, that presented us some information on the Golden Visa and 3 beautiful properties that we will be sharing this information later for those of you that missed it, that make great investments. One that would be applicable for the Golden Visa, and 2 others that if you just want to, you already have your paperwork, you just want to buy a property. If you have questions about how to buy the property or anything related to the properties, put it here on the Q&A. We'll come back in a few minutes and answer those. And just now we had Hilda. Hilda is located in Madeira, and she was talking to us about why, she reminded us why it's so beautiful, the island that she lives in, and why people should be investing there. So thank you for that, ladies. And without further ado, I have our next guest that I will introduce again because of those of us that either joined later or, like myself, sometimes is challenged by memory. So Nelson Punta Garça is our next guest. He is the CEO of NPG Multimedia LLC. He is many more things than just an investor, but for the purpose of this talk, he is our investor example in Açores. He is originally from California, and a few years ago, he purchased a few properties, and I'm going to go ahead and let him tell us all about it. So Nelson, are you unmuted?
Yes, I am. Hi, Claudia. Thank you so much for having me, PALCUS and everybody here. I see all our participants and the great presentations by our 2 great realtors here and consultants. It is crucial that once you buy something that you associate with good professionals. And I remember just a few years ago, especially in the islands, in Azores, Madeira, and in mainland Portugal even, there weren't too many real estate just 5 years ago. It's something that is really growing, and it's kind of just like America now and other countries with the quality that you saw presented here. PALCUS has a very special place in my heart. I remember all the way back to the hi Angela, hi Fernando, everybody at PALCUS. I remember all the way back to the galas. We can't do the galas now with COVID, but I remember attending several of those at different levels, helping out with the production of some of those. I really miss that. And PALCUS, I really recommend everybody attending those galas. The level of networking is incredible, and you learn so much. So I decided to do this. I've been living, I was born in California, lived in California for a long time, but I always came back because I lived here for a long time in Portugal. And I was convinced after several presentations from, I also work for RTP, I'm a producer. So I used to go interview and do a lot of content from AECEP to the Consul General to our ambassador, Domingos Fezas Vital, the different Consul Generals. And I remember when in California, they started taking the first steps to promote Portugal in a big time, and we could really see the effects on the last 5-10 years of all of that work that different governments have been doing, and Portugal has been doing an amazing job. So much so that Portugal, especially now with the Web Summit, Lisbon is becoming this tech hub like Silicon Valley. Azores and Madeira are becoming so attractive. So many people that not only want to come and retire, but want to work as a global player. And I wanted to come and try and do that. And I've been living between America and Portugal for the past 2 years, and now with COVID, it's been a great place to be and work globally from Azores to the world. And I've done that at a level of starting. One purchase I did was an Airbnb in the UNESCO landscape in Caldeira Santo Cristo, which is a very well-known area. And I was very blessed because those properties, it's very hard to find properties now because it's very few of them. So this is kind of the timing was yesterday, but this is the time to purchase in Portugal because things are only going to get more expensive. And even with the economy, economy and with the COVID, we could see that a lot of people are looking to Portugal as a place to work and not only retire, but to continue doing great things. I did that, and I'm also working on a project called the 5 Marrabutas, the 5 Elements of Life, part of Azores Zen, which is a business I built here in Portugal. It's called Azores Zen, and it has a component, of bioagriculture also. So Portugal is a great place to live a sustainable life. I have a 5-year-old son that I want to start having him with healthy habits, and connected to the land, to agriculture, to bio, to different things like that, very close to the ocean. Anywhere in Portugal you are, whether Madeira, Azores, or Lisbon, or mainland in general, you want to be closer to the ocean. And it's been really a great lifestyle to get rid of all of the anxiety of the big cities, to get rid of, all of the stress and the worry of, the political tensions in the world. So I find myself living, a more simple, calm life, and I miss the big centers of LA and San Francisco a lot. And sometimes I wish I could just get there. But overall, I love being able to live between America and Portugal. And I'll be open, I guess, to if anybody has some questions, but I would just leave a couple of tips. Just really prepare if you're coming. Things are different, and some of the things you hear about Portugal are getting better, but there's still some things that you need to prepare so that you have a good experience. And don't let yourself be discouraged or scared by people that say that you should not invest here for this reason or that reason. It is a great place to invest, to live, to raise a family, but you do have to be aware that things are different and they have their own ways. And to set up a business here is different. I would start kind of getting into it. One of the challenges that I'm facing also is with construction, because Portugal is growing fast. The need and the demand for construction is very high. So those properties you saw ready to move in, they're a good option. I went the route of like building in very remote places where you need to almost go there by helicopter, and then in islands where the population is low. It's a total zened out place, but at the same time, it's a big challenge for construction. So start establishing those things if you want to build something from scratch, or if you want to build in a land like those presented there, if you want to build up something, and really starting to understand the incentives. There's a lot of Europe money coming our way to Portugal on the next few years to kind of work with this crisis that is worldwide. And I think it's a good opportunity, seeing like a problem that we have now with this world economic crisis as a good opportunity to invest. With the 2020 sponsorships of Europe that are ending now, there's going to be new opportunities now of funding for projects that you could invest in Portugal associated with real estate. So far it's been challenging, but a great. You can totally live between different parts of the world, and Portugal is definitely one of the places to be these days.
Oh, thank you so much, Nelson. That was very, very enlightening. I love listening to your journey. It's a real one. And it's so true. Portugal is definitely in high demand, not just for us Portuguese, but also the Americans are finally discovering Portugal, and they are asking more and more. Hence, I have some properties right now for sale in Portugal here in the US, because the demand is starting to grow. Americans are definitely looking at Portugal as, the third safest country in the world. It's a European country. It has good health care. It does, it's safe for their families, and it offers so much. Indeed, anywhere in Portugal, either the islands or mainland, you're close to the sea. You can do all sorts of, it's like you are in a permanent vacation if you can really live like that there in Portugal, for sure. So everybody, before I go ahead and open the Q&A and ask more questions to our amazing guests today here, I wanted to ask you to, at this moment, start typing down your questions that you may have for them, but as well, let us know. Are you here today to just pure curiosity, or are you really looking to purchase a home within the next 6 months? Because we have something we want to share with you guys, and I want to send you that information if you would like. Now, at this moment, I would like to start with a question from Chris Corgas. And I'm sorry, Chris, that it took so long because he was the first one to type it. As soon as we started, he typed it. So if you guys can go ahead and unmute yourselves, all of you, feel free to throw us questions. So Achilles, if you can unmute yourself, Hilda, if you can unmute yourself. And for Nelson as well, because I'm sure a lot of people have questions for Nelson. How did you do things? What challenges you're going through? So the first question I have is this. And whoever wants to take it, please feel free to answer. What is required for a down payment on a property in Portugal?
We are talking about the percentage.
They're asking what is required to do a down payment in Portugal. I think it would be good, and I think I can help a little bit, that, are you Portuguese or not? It doesn't matter. You can ask a loan in Portugal. You can actually get a loan in a Portuguese bank. So Hilda and Achilles, maybe more for you, if someone comes from abroad, they may be Portuguese or not, but they are abroad and they want to buy a house in Portugal, but use one of the banks in Portugal, what would they need in order to get it going?
Okay, if they don't have the Portuguese nationality, they have to be at the pay down payment about 30%. Okay, and then they will be able, if everything is okay with their earnings, they have to, everything will be okay to make the loan. Okay. I don't know if Achilles wants to tell a little bit more about it.
I don't know if I understand correctly the question, but I think maybe the person would like to know if he can buy a property with only down payment. I mean, yes, without a mortgage, yes, you can definitely buy a property with the down payment. But if you're not Portuguese, you should first open a bank account. So get a NIF, a fiscal number, and then open a bank account. And for the fiscal number, you will need your ID card, and also you can make a procuration for someone here in Portugal who is living here in Portugal, who can do that for you. Normally, it's a lawyer who has to do that, and you can prove with an ID card and also the address. So the address where you are. Only that two documents, and then a lawyer of someone who lives here in Portugal can do that for you. And then you can open a bank account, and everything now we can do it like by internet. So you can open a bank account, transfer the money from where you are to here, and buy the property by down payment. Yeah.
Great, ladies. So pretty much it works a little bit like here, maybe. So whenever you're for a mortgage, you do need to prove, proof of income, employment, where do you live, where the money is coming from. So it's the same everywhere else. And then according to loan amounts, the money you are asking to borrow to the bank, then we will decide how much of a down payment, right? So what's that percentage? Or is the percentage always the same, 30%?
30%. Then I know it's 30%.
If you're for foreigners, yes. For foreigners, it's 30.
Nelson.
Hi, Chris. Just wanted to say hi, Chris. I haven't seen Chris in a long time. I saw him when we interviewed for Portuguese in California a long time ago, and he's progressed on his career wonderfully. And I think one of the things is a lot of our guests here, they probably have Portuguese nationality, so it would be kind of our target audience at this point. And if you're entitled to Portuguese nationality and you don't have it, get it. That's the number one step, because a lot of Portuguese Americans, they're considered Portuguese Americans, but in a way, only if they have their passport and their cartão cidadão are they, for purchasing a house or a loan, truly a Portuguese citizen. So you guys get that going. I know it's difficult now with the consulates. So the more you plan ahead, the better it will be, right, Mr. Ambassador? I'm sure he will agree. The consul generals will help you out, and even when you come to Portugal, it's a great opportunity also to take care of your paperwork and do your thing. So that would be the first. Because if you are a Portuguese citizen, in many cases you could purchase something with 0 down, with 100% down. There's a lot of options, and the banks are pretty flexible. I found out, my experience was that I purchased some things by paying them and others by getting a loan. And either way, I find that that is one of the things that is easier in Portugal to get a loan than it is in America, as far as the bureaucracy that it takes. It's one of the few things that I thought it was easier here, because they don't ask as much stuff as a loan in America. And I've done that in America. I purchased a home in America, and it's a lot of paper. And I found it here that it was a bit easier. So just, but I would definitely recommend that you come in person, though. It's one thing that I would say: you come here, you check things out, and rather than doing from a distance, which you could do in a lot of times, but I would recommend being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Nelson. I really appreciate that. And you guys, this is why we are having this session. Exactly. That's why PALCUS is bringing all this information to you with a life example, Nelson, but as well, amazing professionals all over the areas that can connect you with the right people. Is that lawyers, banking, where to go, what to do, what papers to get. I have another question from Cristina Marques. Thank you so much, Cristina. Whoever wants to take that one, feel free. The question is it true that the tax rate on short-term property income is 40%? You have to unmute yourself, Hilda. So, Achilles, you were saying?
I mean, in 2019, yes, everything changed. The government increased tax returns, yes, is more than 26, so it's actually between 40 and 50%. It's true.
Okay, I guess we answered that. Cristina, if you have any other questions, feel free to type them. Eduardo de Silva from South Africa is asking, my wife and I both have Portuguese citizenship and are planning on purchasing property in Portugal, but we have no idea what the first step would be. Example, to open a bank account in Portugal, obtain the number contribuinte. Yes. So for your question, okay. So secondly, so you want to know what documents, what is the first step? Shall I open a bank account? Shall I get the documents? And then secondly, shall you buy as a personal entity or as a company for the tax purposes and inheritance option? I think that's a really, really good question, because inheritance is different in Portugal.
Great question. I'll jump in really quick and let the experts talk after that. Because I did things both ways, and it's important that you decide because I started doing at the personal level, and I was like, oops, some of these things I want to do it at the business level. So it's very important you decide how you want to do it. You could do, if you're going to do it at the business level, so you should already be creating the business, because it takes a while to not only create the business, the bank accounts, all of that stuff, the branding. But if you do it as a business, there's a lot of benefits, as far as you could get incentives also, government's incentives to do your business, depending on what you want to do. So there's support for that. There's also tax deductions you could do. On the other hand, there's some taxes like the IMT, I believe, that is higher once it's a business. But then you could deduct a lot of the stuff from the house, like the interest, for example, that you pay. You could deduct it, just like America. So if you have a business, in that sense, it makes a lot more sense. But if you just want a home to kind of stay and spend vacation, I would say just do it at a personal level. And if you're looking into getting like grants and funding for a project to make it a rental house, then it needs to be a business.
That was great. I think that answered quite a lot. Regarding the kind of documentation, I think, it's also according exactly what Nelson was saying, depending on your situation, exactly what you're looking to do and where you're coming from. That's why we're connecting you here with Achilles that can answer from mainland, and Hilda from Madeira. And then in a source, I'm sure we can find you amazing professionals. I'm sure Nelson knows some amazing professionals that can help us and guide you on the right path. Ladies, do you want to add something to that?
Actually, Nelson talks everything, because if you want, if you do it for your own, taxes are lower than if you are going to buy this house as a company. But you can reduce the taxes of the company when you have the income. So you have to choose very well what do you want.
All right. Eduardo, if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out and we will do a consultation to explain a little bit more, help you. Okay. Now, Chris, Nelson, maybe you want to help out a little bit. Is your friend Chris on the line? He is asking, is setting up an LLC in Portugal similar to the US?
Yeah, I know it's similar, and things got in a way that it's pretty much you have the different levels of business where you could have, a sole proprietor, you could have a company with, like an LLC, different shared quotas. They just give it Portuguese names, but you could do everything that you do in America here. And sometimes it used to take a little bit longer, but now with Simplex, a program that the government has been implemented, and with the Lojas Cidadão, and things are really are much easier, and things go a lot smoother. So it's in many ways it's whatever you can do in America, usually you could do here, and even the tax rates and everything else is less. One of the things that here used to be really low, but they kind of learned with America in a way, was the property taxes. So the property taxes used to be really low here, like ridiculously low. So they're catching up and starting to charge you more for what they call o imposto de selo, what they call here. So they're catching up a little bit, but still, it's the good news is still way cheaper than like the 1.5% almost in some states in America.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Ladies, you want to add anything to that? Or are you good? You good? All right. Thank you, Nelson. I really appreciate it. A lot of knowledge here. You guys, I'm so glad you make it out here today because we get to learn a lot and connect with one another. So Lisa De Lima is asking, what are the implications if you have a dual US Portuguese citizenship versus golden visa? So there is no implications. The golden visa is for those that don't have citizenship.
Yes.
Correctly?
Yes. It's only for non-European Union citizenship. Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I hope we answered that question, Lisa. If it was something else you wanted to know, let us know. Robert Medeiros, he's saying, maybe you can help Nelson with this one. Is it best to work with a US bank or directly with a bank in Portugal to help you with financing?
Portugal.
Well, the first thing is I think it's difficult to get a loan in America to buy something in Portugal. So I would say that kind of would answer that question. As far as the rates, they're very competitive over here. I would say they're similar, the interest rates, the process is easier. You being a Portuguese American, if you have your passport and your things, you just open an account and you start the process. And actually the experience I have is that they privilege a little bit an American citizen because your income is higher. And usually, even if you have just a medium income, if you don't make a fortune in America, it's a lot more money. For example, if you make $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, which is in America is not much, here is a lot of money. And then if you're like in the Silicon Valley, is like, $150,000, $200,000 a year, then it helps you a lot. Another thing that I find interesting is that they don't go by the credit history too much. Over there, it's credit score. I don't think they didn't do that here with me and people that I am aware of. It's mostly like your income, your assets. They really look into if you have any other asset they could go grab if something goes wrong. But the credit score thing doesn't exist here, so you don't have to worry about not having a credit history. The main thing they look at is your monthly income and your ability to pay, and still the old-fashioned way of kind of like your reputation throughout the years if you have a bank account. So I would really recommend that you open an account and have some transactions going so that that's kind of your credit history here, is having a bank account.
Right, absolutely.
I just want to add.
I could have.
Just to add a little thing at the end of this. So if you want to purchase a house, yes, as Nelson say, it's better to open an account here in Portugal, to purchase a home here in Portugal. And also what the bank will do before to give you the money is to do an evaluation on the property that you are looking to purchase, just to make sure that the amount that you are looking for is the right amount. Yeah. So it's good also for the person who is going to purchase the property.
Right. And if you're going to build on, like, let's say if you're buying property by the ocean, and it's not like the property is not ready to move in, ask a lot of questions. That's why a good real estate and consultant is important, because they're very picky here. Like most of these areas where you want to be, they're like UNESCO areas, World Heritage areas, and there's a lot of restrictions with the environment, so you might be purchasing something that then you can't, you get there, and I know a lot of people got frustrated. They purchase something and then they can't build what they want. That's kind of one of the main things here. But I understand Portugal doing that because they're trying to preserve so that we just don't build all over the place, and keep it traditional and keep the country with the true essence of the Portuguese culture. But it could be frustrating for some people that purchase. I have a property on an area that I usually say I own it, but it's really not only mine, it's world property. You have to look at it that way. Because you can't just go there and change your windows or paint the door a different color if you're in particular areas. In other areas, you could do whatever you please. So I would just really take that in consideration.
Absolutely. Thank you for that point, Nelson. At this point, I really would like to address that. This is so important why we are, and again, another reason why we are doing this talk today, where we're bringing this information to you and connecting you with amazing professionals. So like myself, I want to buy a house in Portugal, but I don't live there anymore. I left 20 years, 30 years ago. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to go. Things have changed since 20, 30 years ago, a lot. So it's really important to be working with the professional in Portugal. It's never been so prevalent to really have a real estate agent. And this is why we are presenting to you two great opportunities here to connect with Achilles and Hilda to help you in the different areas. And we, of course, have a whole network in Portugal. Myself, in places that I mentioned here today, Setúbal, Caldas da Rainha, whatever that may be, we do have professionals in all these areas that can help you. From what you need to do, documentation, the whole buying process. That's another thing. That's why I was asking who's looking to really buy, who is serious about this, who wants this information. We do have some information about the buying process from the beginning to the end that we would like to share with you guys. So let us know if you're interested, and these agents can definitely, guide you through it, including myself. Then Nascimento is asking that he's actually commenting that he has a citizenship from his parents' heritage, but he's having a hard time to find a lawyer that he can work with there, and he needs NIF. I don't actually know what NIF is, NIF, and open a
Social Security.
Okay, so then at this point, are you looking to do something in the mainland or on the islands? Let us know, because we would love to connect. You can connect with Achilles or with Hilda, and they will connect you. I know Coldwell Banker has an amazing legal team, financial team. There is everything in-house that can help you. That's why we are here, and we have an international team to help you. The same with Hilda. She knows all her people there in Madeira that can help you if that's the case. And I'm sure Nelson could connect us with some professionals in Açores. So very good question. Where can we see the interest rates that are going on in Portugal right now? Where can we get that information? Lender.
You can go to the site economista.pt, for example, also, and you can have directly on the bank. Normally, if you have Portuguese bank, you can have like the rate there.
Very good. Thank you so much.
They do the same thing where they have 15 years or 30 years. And one thing that could scare you, but it's kind of what they do here, is they don't recommend usually the fixed rate. I know over there I was very into getting the fixed rate, and here they don't do the fixed rate thing. It's variable, but again, it's not gonna hopefully go crazy through the roof, because otherwise everybody would not be able to pay. Portugal is actually, like Europe, might go through a little bit of a crisis here, so I don't see them doing anything that would make that complicated. But that is one thing that I remember, it kind of scared me in the beginning. It's like, not a fixed rate. I don't know if I'm going to sign that, but it's just a cultural thing, one of those different cultural things that you have. And then they do it 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, depending on your age, depending on if it's a business loan, they usually like to do them shorter terms. And if it's a personal, then they could do longer. That's kind of the feedback that I have.
Thank you.
That's a very, very nice appointment that Nelson made about the fixed and the not fixed rates. And also, it's important that the real estate agent of the department in the real estate agency can guide the client to and check in different banks, because we can maybe have an offer different in another bank that in the banks that we thought that it's a good bank, we can have a great rate from there. But in comparing with another ones, and all the process, all the 30 years, 40 years payment, down payment, maybe we can raise and we can see the difference between one bank and another bank. So it's good to check more than one bank to see the rates.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ilva, for that. And we do have some really good contacts here in the US through the National Association of Realtors that I'm part of as well, that have very good connections with financial institutions in Portugal that we can connect you and see how we can help you. So just reach out to us so we can provide you with that information. I have Norberto Chaves that is asking a question. He has a license. Oh, another realtor in the house. Norberto Chaves is in New Jersey. So if you're in New Jersey, call Norberto. He wants to know how you work real estate in Portugal out of the US. Okay, so I think that one is for me. I'm going to briefly touch about it, but it's very lengthy, so we need to set up a call. So Norberto, give me a call. My contact is on the presentation. I'll reach out on Facebook, Claudia de Silva Realtor. But the question is this. So if you are in the US and you have property in Portugal, so say that Nelson decides to move back to California. I don't see that happening, but he moves back to California and now he wants to sell his properties that he has in Açores. And he wants to target the American market because he built a property that, you know, he could have someone, an American, a Texan, or someone in Florida or in California to purchase it. Then you, as a realtor here with a license, you can get a certification called the CIPS. That, by the way, Achilles has it, and I know Hilda is on the works of getting it as well. A CIPS is a certified international property specialist. That's what I am. That's why I get to list properties in over 44 countries. I choose to only list properties for sale in countries that I know, hence Portugal, Brazil, Mexico, and Costa Rica. Those are countries I visit, I've lived for a short period of time, or I have family there. So that's what you can do, Norberto, and other realtors here in our community. If you have contacts, especially if you live in communities like California, New Jersey, you get CIPS certified by the National Association of Realtors. And now you are entitled to list properties in Portugal. You do need to have the sellers or the owner of the property to sign with you. And then there is a whole science behind it, and I can explain it to you, but they'll require another hour. So please just give me a call and I'll explain. But definitely you can, and actually you should. Edward de Mello, question is for all of the three of you. Is a license needed to use a Portuguese property as a short-term rental, like an Airbnb, and is also easy to get? So do you need a license for that, guys?
Yes, actually you have to go to the city hall, where is the property, okay, and ask for a license. It's very easy to take. I don't know what is the experience about Nelson about this, like owner.
On my case, it already have that status. So you know, you could buy some properties that already have that AL or whatever the status is. But if you want to start again, you schedule something. They do an inspection, and it takes some time. But it's fairly, if you go through the guidelines, it's easy to qualify that usually. And again, just as an incentive, you could come here. And I think the ideal way to live these days, if you can, is what I'm planning to do. with God's will, which is to live between America and Portugal, is to go there the winters, to come here on the summers, and then maybe on a certain phase on the first year, you got to spend more time, if you can, more time here to kind of get the business going, if you want to remodel or construction is better if you're close to things. So, but ideally, it's don't be scared about the move of thinking, oh, I'm gonna go be there forever. And no, you could go back and forward, and it's I think and enjoy the best of both worlds for sure. That's what our grandparents and parents been doing for years. They really knew what they were doing.
I agree, and I hope to be one of those as well. That's exactly what I have on my list. I
just want to add something just about the situation of IL. So basically, in the center of Lisbon and in the center of Porto, because we have a lot of IL, so now maybe in Lisbon and Porto, we have what we call zona de contenção. So if you want to buy a property for the short-term business, it's really important to work with a real estate professional, because there are so many areas in Lisbon and Porto where you cannot have a license to do that. So it's really important to make sure before to buy that you will get the license. It takes some time. It's not like in the Iceland. Here in Lisbon, it takes some time. And if you buy, like for example, the third property the second that I show you is in short term now. If you buy it, you cannot have the AL license, because if you buy a property you already have a license, the owner cannot, I don't know how to say it, but he cannot give you, it's not transfer. It's okay. Not, you cannot transfer to someone else,
Okay, so if you purchase a property that already has this status, it's not transferable, but I can go and apply for myself.
Exactly, you have to go there and apply for yourself.
Okay. That is in Lisbon and Porto.
And Porto, in the center of Lisbon, center of Porto. Yeah, you have a lot of area, which is...
Makes sense, the Propolis, of course. Dan de Mello has a question here that he has a cartão de cidadão, and if he can be denied a Portuguese passport. I don't think that would happen. I think that's a question for the consulates, but you guys, do you want to address that? I mean, should we be addressing that?
I really don't know. It's better to ask in the passport effort. It's better.
Yeah, but usually if you have, usually if you have a cartão cidadão, that's usually the hard thing to get. It's usually the one that takes longer and that proves your citizenship. Once you have that one, actually, for example, in San Francisco, California, that is really far from Portugal, it usually takes about a week only to get a European passport. So Portugal, if the cartão cidadão is taking a while and some people complain the citizenships might take a long time, the passport is really fast. And if you get the express option that they have, it's really fast. So the hard part is if, for example, if you're the grandson of a Portuguese, or if you have a hard time getting the documents of your parents, if you never did it, or if you just have a bilhete de identidade. But if you have your cartão cidadão already, it's really, really, really easy to get your European passport. And if you don't have any major issues with law, I don't see any reason why they would not give you the passport.
Absolutely. So you guys, thank you so much for answering all these questions. Everyone, thank you for asking all these amazing questions. To keep us on track for the purpose of time, to honor your time and everybody else's, we have 10 more minutes. So I'm going to be answering a few more questions. We're going to be browsing through them. Again, thank you everyone for joining, for being here. And we are going to have the closing session right after. So please remain with us if you can, if time allows you. So Cass Mowat wants to go to Portugal, wants to buy a property in Açores. He or she, sorry, I can't tell, Cass, I'm so sorry. Something very specific in Açores. So how can they work this out? Well, Cass, for you, reach out to us. We'll be able to connect you with the equal professional, to Achilles and Hilda Barina Source that can help with the whole process, do the search for you, do all of the from the price to the records, and help you find addresses and everything else. So connect with us so we can connect you with a professional, either on Facebook, find one of us and reach out, or even Angela Simoes. Let me look for some more questions for you guys here. Again, I have someone, Sean Jackman wants to buy in Funchal in the next 1 to 2 years. Sean, you have Hilda Barros right here. Feel free to connect with her. She can help you. He is asking Hilda for you, is it safe to buy sight unseen? That question is for you, Hilda. Is it safe to buy sight unseen?
Yes, it is. Actually, my colleagues, they have been selling in this way because people want to buy here, and they have been chasing the properties like this. It's safe to do it.
Okay, fantastic. Chris Cargis again. Chris, thank you so much for being so active with the questions. We really appreciate you, Chris. So he's asking, are the ROI properties in cities like Coimbra and Faro in their immediate vicinities? How are they? So I will actually briefly answer that, because, you know, it depends of the kind of property. So we really would have to look at the different kind of properties. What are you looking for? And then we can see what the ROI would be. So connect with us so we can actually have a session with you and go through. And by us, I mean Achilles in this case, so she can pull some information for you and connect you with our counterparts in those specific areas. So Luis, thank you so much for your questions. I hope we answered them. Okay, so I have Luis de Lima. We just completed getting our dual citizenship. How and where do we go to get the certão, I guess, certão de nascimento and Portuguese passport? He is in LA. So there is an embassy in LA, right?
So in LA, and I don't want to speak for Mr. Ambassador or the Consul General, but I was an advisor to the Consul General, as I still am, on my last year, as they extended the Conselheiros das Comunidades Portuguesas timing because of Portuguese elections. And what do you do in that area, in LA area, is you have an option of going with we have a great honorary consul in that area, Paul Menezes, that also happens to be a lawyer. Portugal, before, they had an office in close to downtown, I believe, but now it's right on the center of the heart of the Portuguese community in Artesia, California. And Paul Menezes is the honorary consul that could help you there. Although if you need to do something from the beginning, where you need to pick up what they call dados biométricos, you would have to go to the Consul General in San Francisco. So Paul there would be able to help you out, kind of direct you and help you get your documents together. But the next step I would take would be to go online to the Consulado de Portugal in São Francisco website and schedule an appointment. And for anybody else listening to us at this point, because of COVID and because of some of the consulates being a little short on people and a lot of high demand for citizenship, they're taking mostly only online reservations. So don't go from like Hawaii or LA, fly to San Francisco, because they can't really they can't assist you unless you have an appointment. So again, LA area, honorary consul and a lawyer, also Paul Menezes, and San Francisco is the point for those 13 states that actually includes Texas. So the Consul General in San Francisco covers one of the widest world Consul General areas. It's an area equivalent from Lisbon to Russia. And it's all served by the same Consul General in San Francisco, our great consul, Maria João Lopes Cardoso, a lovely lady with a great team there in the Portuguese consulate.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nelson, for that. Just like buying a house in Portugal, when you're starting the home buying process, is all about preparation and education. So it's the same, especially when we're buying across the pond, as we call it. So start preparing, making those appointments, getting the information. We have PALCUS that connected us with a lot of officials that can help us in answering a lot of questions. Feel free to connect, send us questions, and we'll be able to connect you with the right people or answering more detail if we didn't hear, because we have some limited time and we are getting to the end of it. So Carolina Gomes is asking here, what are the main differences between buying in Açores Madeira and mainland Portugal, the continent? Pretty much the process is the same, as I am aware, from the beginning to the end. Getting a consultation with your real estate agent would help you define the kind of property, and is the kind of property that pretty much will dictate what are the steps that you need to take. But pretty much the buying process is similar. We have had some other talks about this that you can find on YouTube, and I'm more than happy to share with you as well. So there is Alison is sharing oh my gosh, the Consulate of Honolulu, and she's sharing the website here, so you guys can look at more information there as well. And then I have one question that Angela just sent it to me because she's texting me behind the lines. She's saying that on Facebook. Thank you everyone that is joining us on Facebook as well. I really appreciate it for all of those of you on Zoom, Facebook, anywhere in the world. I'm a Portuguese citizen. How is buying a house in Portugal different than buying in the US? So I think this is a really good question. I think it's the right question to kind of wrap up our question sessions here. Do you guys want to, what are the main differences? Do you guys want to take it over?
So I purchased a home in California, in America before, and then I purchased one here. And I did it both for business and personal, and I find it to be very similar. If assuming that you have the Portuguese citizenship, you know, if not, there's other things like the golden visa and other options that that they explained earlier and they can help you with. But if you are a citizen, the first step would be to get your documents together, get your passport, your cartão cidadão, so that you come here, you know, just like a Portuguese person. You know, you have your, and usually the NIF is the social security, so they use that number a lot. But the good thing is once you do a cartão cidadão, it all automatically comes up. Actually, you get the number of Segurança Social and Medicare actually for you could have basically healthcare right away once you do your citizenship, because that card has several numbers. It has it's your ID, it's also your social security, and it's your medical card. So in a way, if you have that, I would say it's very similar. The good news is that Portugal is still, in general, cheaper, more affordable to live than most of the main cities in America. So you could live, I remember always wanting to live by the ocean, and in California, it was getting a little complicated, and especially in the areas that I love, like Newport Beach and others, you're looking at $2, $3, $4, $5 million for a humble house over there in those areas. Well, you in Portugal, you could live right on top of the water, if that's what you like, for, you know, a tenth or a 20th of that price. So that's one of the big differences, I would say, is that, you know, it's still way cheaper. Although Lisbon and Porto and even Funchal and some areas in Ponta Delgada, they're catching up. And while Azores, for example, the average apartment or home used to be on the 100, 200,000s, you start seeing stuff in Azores now for 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 and more. And again, the same in Madeira, you saw properties there for about 200,000. So I would say that's, you know, and they're brand new. So I would say price, you know, the advantage of having a very nice place, a brand new place by the ocean or in the mountains or whatever is your thing, for a way better price, and something that you could actually afford. If in America, I know in my area in the Silicon Valley, the median home price was at about $1 million. Not everybody could afford that. On the other hand, if you're somebody with a lot of money and you want to invest money and you want to get the co-investment with Portugal, Competir Mais and other programs that you could learn from AECEP or from the Gabinete do Empreendedor e de Investimento na Diáspora, you could, through those areas, if you have, let's say, $1 million to invest, you could go probably get, in most cases, 50% matching, 60% matching in some cases of that investment fund. So there's a lot of great opportunities there. And other than that, it's pretty much the same process. A good realtor, you know, a good loan and bank, if that's the case, if you want to finance it. And I would say it's very, very, very similar.
Yeah, it is very similar. We have discussed this at length in previous conversations, you guys. So if you would like more information, we can share. But basically, there is a few small differences, such as inspections, for example. Now they start happening in Portugal. They weren't before. So doing inspections on properties before you buy. So, now we have the evaluations from the banks as well to make sure that you're asking, and what the property is worth it. There is, some little difference with insurance. So home insurance, for example, I believe, ladies, can you answer that question real quick for me? Is the home insurance, is that required, or is just a certain type of insurance that is required?
The home insurance when you buy the house is required. Yes, it's required.
Okay. All right, because I know there's some small differences, but just like Nelson mentioned, is the right time to buy. Start planning for it. Everything is getting more expensive. The process is fairly easy. And who can say this? So many countries out there that, do not allow for us to come in and purchase a property where, the banks, it's fairly simple to do a loan in Portugal, and the interest rates are amazing even compared with the US. So, definitely very similar. We came to a halting point, everybody. I believe that it's time for me to thank you, Nelson, thank you, Hilda, and thank you, Aquila, for being our wonderful guests today. Really appreciate all your insights and information.
So much, Claudia.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Before we leave again, I would like for you guys to leave your contacts if you would like again, just before we have Angela to talk. So Hilda, if someone wants to reach out to you, are you on social media, on Facebook, Instagram?
Yes, I will leave also the presentation. Over there is my contact. So if anyone wants to reach, feel free to do it.
Thank you. And Achilles, I know you are super big on social media. So.
Yeah, I like it. So Instagram, you can find me on Instagram as Angela Simoes Portugal. It's easier. And also on Facebook, Angela Simoes as a realtor. And my contact is 351-966-925-643.
All right. So I that information on the presentations, Nelson. I'm sure you can find you on Facebook as well, right?
Yeah, Nelson Ponta Garça. Nobody else wants that name, so it's not a usual name. So you'll easily find me out there, or through Angela and now Claudia. Also, I feel we have a great partnership here, and I'm really excited to help out in whatever way you can, especially with this connection between America, being in America and being here. I really lived a lot of the things that people wonder, how is it doing it? So it's still fresh. So I'm really willing to help you out, and you should definitely do it. Especially the investment part of it. Portugal is very attractive for whoever wants to invest. They've really been leading worldwide, and it shows. Everybody wants to be here and move here. So this is the time to do it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And thank you to all the attendees on Facebook Live here on our Zoom call. I know we did not answer a few questions, so please bring those questions to our Facebook group. Connect with PALCUS on Facebook and also on Instagram, and I'll make sure you get your answers. And now the floor is yours, Angela.
Thank you. Thank you to our panelists. It was a really wonderful panel. So many great questions, more than we could answer. So thank you very much. I'm just going to go ahead and turn everybody's video off, with the exception of the ambassador. Actually, if I could ask you to stop your videos, that would be great. So this conference has been immensely successful. We're really excited with the results. So just to give a few numbers so far, we've reached over 60,000 people. We have had over 18,000 views of the sessions. We've had more than 5,000 engagements. And so, the COVID crisis has forced us to, reinvent a few things. But, this virtual conference, I feel, has has been more successful than I think any in-person conference that we would have had, whether it was Miami or wherever. And so I think this definitely turned out to be a great thing for us and for the community, and we will definitely be doing more virtual sessions in the future. This conference could not have been possible without the great partnership that we formed with a few organizations that Claudia mentioned earlier. So AECEP, the Portugal-U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Office of the Secretary of State for Communities Abroad, Abroad Berta Nunes, her staff, and of course the Portuguese Embassy in the U.S. So we had a really great committee. This was one of the best collaborations I've ever been a part of, and so I'm very, very happy to have brought all these parties together. And of course, we had some other committee members like Joe Santos and Carolina Rendero, who really helped to recruit some great panelists. And to close out our session, we have the Ambassador of Portugal to the United States, Domingos Fezas Vital, who has been a great partner to PALCUS in the past few years. We've been able to accomplish a lot, and it's been a really fruitful and productive relationship. And so we're thankful that he is here today to close out our wonderful session that basically had 16 sessions promoting Portugal and why Portuguese Americans should go invest in Portugal. So without further delay, Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Angela, thank you very, very much. Dear members of PALCUS, dear friends, in these challenging times for us all, I wish that you and your loved ones are all well and safe. My first words are to thank PALCUS for inviting me to close the second edition of what I see as our national conference, and to congratulate its leadership for deciding to go ahead with it against all odds and under such difficult circumstances. I believe that the diversity of the issues addressed in the different panels, the quality of the contribution from speakers, moderators, and the audience, the high levels of attendance that you've just mentioned clearly show that holding this event was a timely and fully justified decision. But in my view, the unquestionable success of the conference lies also in the importance of the messages and the indications that it provided. Allow me to highlight some of them. First and foremost, the second edition of the National Conference was, like the first one in 2018, during the month of Portugal, and as the month of Portugal itself, or initiatives such as the Make Portuguese Count, another clear example of the advantages of working together for a common purpose, bringing together PALCUS, the Foreign Ministry, the Diplomatic and Consular Network in the United States, including AECEP and the Coordination for the Portuguese Language and Programs, FLAD, and the Portuguese U.S. Chamber of Commerce. But it was also an illustration of the growing assertiveness of a community committed to playing its role as a fundamental actor for the promotion of an ever closer relationship between Portugal and the United States in all dimensions, including in the field of trade and investment. A community that finds its strength and increasing self-confidence also in its determination to address crucial topics for its future, such as the attraction of younger generations to its activities and initiatives, and the use of new tools, including technological means, to convey its message and make its voice heard loud and clear, both in Portugal and in the United States. A community that shows its readiness to be an agent for change of mentalities and attitudes concerning some of the issues that are crucial for shaping a better and more harmonious future, such as the empowerment of women. A community, last but not least, that acknowledges the importance of culture, including in its more contemporary manifestations, as a key feature in affirming its identity, as shown with the Meet the Artists sessions and the setting up of the first virtual gallery of Portuguese American artists. In short, a community better prepared to respond to the calls and challenges of the time to come. Dear friends, the pandemic imposed serious constraints upon us all, at personal, but also at a professional level, in all sectors of life. For us all, there is a time before and after the pandemic. However, acknowledging it should never be a reason or a justification for paralysis, but a first step to adjust and prepare the future. This applies to the relations between Portugal and the United States, but also to the life of our clubs and associations, and the work of our diplomatic and consular network in the United States. The relationship between Portugal and the United States is a cornerstone of Portugal's external policy, no matter the government in Lisbon or the administration in DC. It has always been like that. It will continue to be so. Until the pandemic took us all by surprise, the political dialogue between the two countries was fluid. Contacts between our civil societies had never been as intense. In just 4 years, the number of Americans visiting Portugal increased at an unparalleled rate, going up from around 300,000 a year to more than 1 million. Trade and investment was flourishing between both sides of the Atlantic, the United States having become Portugal's most relevant trade partner outside the European Union. Our main objective should be to build upon this extraordinary momentum and create the conditions for a quick resuming of that trend. For that, like any other country, we count on our people, our companies, our institutions. However, as the National Conference also eloquently showed, unlike many, we can also count on an extraordinary asset, a community, our community, increasingly present and influential in the social, economic, political, cultural, and scientific fabric of this great nation. Portugal has many reasons to thank you every day for your unfailing commitment and invaluable contribution, so often with immense personal sacrifice, to the fostering of a stronger relation with the United States in all areas, including in the economic, trade, and investment fields, as well as to the promotion of our culture, language, and values in this country. You are a compelling evidence that forgetting one's roots will always make one feel incomplete. You are ultimately the reason why it makes so much sense to talk about the United States as our neighbor across the pond. But take my gratitude as a humble appeal as well. The future of the relations between Portugal and the United States, our continuing efforts to make sure that what we have to offer as a modern country and society is better known, that our language, the fifth most spoken in the world, is even more available, despite all recent successes, such as the extraordinary positive assessment of the American councils of the new exams in Portuguese, and the ever-increasing network of agreements between the Camões Institute and American states and institutions, such as the one just recently announced with the state of Utah, a reflection of the increasing demand for Portuguese in this country. For all that, in all that, your irreplaceable role has been and will continue to be absolutely crucial. The National Conference left no doubts about your determination to play that role and to do it in the most effective way possible. Acknowledging, for that matter, as I said in the beginning, that joining forces and working together are always better recipes for success. Recognizing, as beautifully said by Leith Ann Buchanan, Executive Director of CIC Venture Cafe, in her remarks at the Miami Tech Boom panel, recalling the words of John Kennedy, that a rising tide lifts all boats. That also implies a diplomatic and consular network that is ever more ready to partner with you and better equipped to respond to your legitimate expectations. Fulfilling that task is our tireless daily objective, which has to go, obviously, hand in hand with the need to ensure the safety of staff and guests, in particular through the respect of the rules on social distancing. I wish to thank also on behalf of my colleagues in our consulates, the so many of you who have been showing us their understanding and support. We take it as an incentive to try and do every day even more, to serve every day even better. Therefore, we value the constructive advice coming again from so many of you, in particular from the members of the Council of the Communities and of the consultative councils, where PALCUS is largely represented. Dear friends, next year, Portugal will once again be chairing the Council of the European Union. It is an opportunity not to be missed to increase our visibility in the United States. Notwithstanding the constraints due to the pandemic, the Embassy is preparing, together with the consulates, an ambitious program of initiatives. In addition to the 4 main priority areas of the Portuguese presidency, being the European Ecological Pact, the social agenda, the digital transition, and external relations, we intend to address another topic: the importance of the role of European diasporas in the United States for the promotion of the EU integration process, as well as of relations between the European Union and the United States. We will dedicate a webinar to it, with the participation of representatives from the most relevant European diasporas in the United States. And I want to take advantage of this opportunity to invite you, Angela, to participate on behalf of PALCUS. 2021 will also be an election year in Portugal. Our country will be called to decide on who will be our president for the next 5 years. For a long time, our communities around the world claim the right to be part to that choice. This will be a very good occasion to prove such claim was justified by participating in big numbers and voting. My appeal also applies to the upcoming elections in this country. Participating is the way to show that you count and also to reward those who truly make Portuguese count. Dear friends, 2022 is just around the corner. As from today, it's time to start preparing the 3rd National Conference. I'm sure it will be just as successful as this one, on the path opened by what seemed to many at the time an impossible task, an impossible dream: the memorable first National Convention in DC. Well, I would say it's about time to realize that impossible has no Portuguese roots. Keep healthy and safe, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. There's some really important messages there in your remarks, Ambassador. I'm happy to accept your invitation. Thank you very much. That's very generous, and we will do our part to also help promote the webinar and all of your efforts around Portugal's presidency of the European Union. So with that, we're going to close the conference. Thank you to all of our panelists and moderators and everybody who attended, whether you watched on Facebook or you actually attended on Zoom. All of these sessions have been recorded. They will be available on Facebook as well as on YouTube, as well as our website. So if you missed any of them, there's ample opportunity to go back and watch them. We will also be providing the PowerPoint presentations that were presented in some of the panel sessions as well. And so, yeah, with that, I just wanted to say thank you again, Ambassador, very much for your time. Wonderful message. And thank you all out there. And until 2022, as our ambassador says, thank you very much.